Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is going to be kind of a follow-up on the last video I did. I did the Christian's perspective of Judaism, prophets. Now we're going to do the Islamic side, and it's going to be probably maybe a little shorter. I'm going to go into too much detail. Most of you guys are Muslims. You know what I'm talking about. I will say on the last video, a lot of people said, well, hey, he's crazy, lost his mind this time. And, it was done for a purpose. And if you'll look at the views, I got a lot of views real quick. So something controversial. And I got more people to comment than, commented before. So when you do something, and our former president knew that if you did something controversial, you would, no matter if it was injecting Clorox, you would get people to hear you. So we did a little experiment there. Now we're going to give you what I call, you could call it the ABCs of Islam. You could also call it the 7 prerequisites of Islam, and this would be prior to taking the Shahada. I want to give you a definition of Islam to begin with, because there's a twofold definition that you need to know. And I wish somebody would have taught this to me before I took the Shahada. I wish it was out there on the internet before I took the Shahada, but you don't see it. It's not there. You're never going to see this anywhere. Okay, the first definition is the revelation that was sent down to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. That would be one definition that was taught by the Prophet. Another one would be the general term, and the general term would be the submission. Okay, so they both go together. The revelation that was sent down, and the submission to one God. Okay. So we can say that the Prophet came with the message, and he came with the same message that all the other prophets came before time. Now this is where the problem came in the last video. You were wondering what I was meaning, and I was meaning what the Christians believe. Okay? Why do you suppose the Christians support Israel, and we support them to the last dollar and the last man? And we don't care what they do with their neighborhood, we still support them. And this is the reason why. Because Christians believe Israel is the chosen people. Simple. All right? When we look at this, and we looked at the two terms, and we look at now the prophets in Islam, would be the prophet from Adam, and it would be all the way to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Okay? So some of those in between, Christians, once again, would probably not say was a prophet. They didn't have a message that really changed the society of the time. No, it was. We won't get into that right now, but they would say that some of these are not prophets. They wouldn't claim them all. Now Islam claims every one of them, every single one, from Adam, peace be upon him, to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. And Islam has a different view also. Now, in Christianity and Judaism, a prophet is not necessarily a holy guy. And we see that over and over throughout the Bible. You can look at it. The problem with Noah, I'm not going to mention it. You can go back and read it. Okay? The problem with Lot and Abraham, I'm not going to mention them. You could go back and read them. You can see for yourself in the Bible. So Islam is confronted with the problem, is the Bible authoritative? And where it speaks about prophets being rascals like David, looking over the wall at the woman next door, killing the woman's husband, and Islam doesn't believe that. Okay? So where some of these things differ in the Quran with the Bible, we go with the Quran, okay? And that's the way you should do it. Should somebody know these prerequisites before they come to Islam? Absolutely. I don't know. I didn't know them. Now, of course, and I did a lot of study before that, but you couldn't find this anywhere. I wasn't taught it in my introduction to Islam when I became a Muslim. I wasn't taught it there. It's just not taught. Now, if I ever create a basic Islam, I'm going to put it in there, and it's going to be the first thing, because this is what you need to know before you even take the Shahada. Okay? And I don't know, a lot of people are just La ilaha illallah Muhammadan Rasulullah, and that's good. That is good. But they don't know what they're saying. They don't have number one, and we'll get into this. And a lot of this stuff is mentioned in Hakabi's poetry, and this is primarily where what I'm going to give you comes from, but it comes from the Hadith. It comes from various places in the Hadith as well, and we could cite those Hadith, but a lot of you probably know what I'm talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you need to go and you need to study, all right? Because the first thing you do as a Muslim before you take the Shahada, the first thing you do before you take the Shahada, you're not even a Muslim yet, but the first thing you do is you got to have knowledge of Islam, okay? You got to have some knowledge. We would never go out and witness to Christians when I did that thing and accept a profession of faith from them if they didn't know what they were professing to or for or from. So we wouldn't accept that, type of profession. So you have to have some knowledge about Islam, okay? Basic knowledge about Islam. That's number one. There's 7 things. Number 2, you got to have certainty. In the Quran it says, this is the book of which there is no doubt. So you can't be doubtful. You can't enter Islam and be doubtful of everything, okay? I'm doubting this teaching, I'm doubting the prophets, I'm doubting the prophet, peace be upon him, I'm doubting this and I'm doubting that. You have to have certainty. You have to have a certain level of certainty to come and take your Shahada, okay? I think a lot of people miss this stuff that I'm going to give you. A lot of people are missing it. And I think in the meantime, while they're missing it, they're not really a Muslim, some of them, because it's more, I think there was said by one, can somebody la ilaha illallah, Muhammad and Rasulullah, and can it be a Muslim? And the answer was technically yes, but you also have to have knowledge and follow, and the Prophet spoke of that. Okay. So every prophet before had a message, and that message was from the one God, and that was a Islamic message, okay? We believe that Adam came with one all the way through the Old Testament. The message was one God, submitting to one God. There were different ways that they went about doing this. Definitely the law was an important part, and Musa, it's still, an important part today, even though it's not as important as obeying the Quran and the Prophet that you have at the time. Now, at the time of Musa, if you wanted to get into heaven, you had to obey the Prophet of God, okay? You had to listen to his teachings, you had to learn his teachings, and you had to understand his teachings. At the time of Jesus, you had to listen to Jesus, you had to practice what he was telling you to do, and that was your way into heaven. Now, Jesus is not our prophet, okay? Jesus is a prophet, and he's loved in Islam just like all the prophets are, but he's not our prophet, okay? The last and the final prophet, Muhammad, peace be upon him, that's our prophet. He's the one we're supposed to listen to, and he's the one we're supposed to follow. So don't get confused, and don't put words into my mouth, okay? Listen to what I'm telling you. Muhammad, peace be upon him, is the prophet that you need to follow. Okay? And it's the same message he has, is the message all through history. Okay? It hasn't changed. The mode, the way it's carried out may have changed. Okay? From Jesus' time to, peace be upon him, to Muhammad's time, peace be upon him, it has changed on the mode, the method of it. There was no Quran at the time of Jesus. Okay? No. The Hadith didn't exist. The Prophet Muhammad, the last and final prophet, peace be upon him, did not exist at the time of Jesus. But no problem. You follow him today. Okay? That's the point I want to get across. Now you got to have acceptance. You got to accept the Shahada. A lot of people are pressured into it and say, well, you got to accept the Shahada. You know, to be a Muslim, you got to accept the Shahada. And they're doubtful. All right? They don't have that level of acceptance. They have a level of doubt. Their iman is very weak. And if they accept the Shahada, they say the Shahada, chances are they don't know what they're saying and they don't mean it anyway. Okay? So they may not be a Muslim. I'm not here to judge. I'm not going to judge anyone, you see, because that's not my job. There's going to be a judge, and you better listen to what the Quran says. You better listen to what the Prophet said, peace be upon him. That's your way in right now, okay? Your way to heaven. Then you got to follow. You got to follow the rules. How many don't want to follow the rules? Oh, they don't want to wear a head covering. That's just something that's that women are doing. Don't want to pray 5 times a day. Don't think it's necessary. Don't Hajj. We don't need Hajj. You know, hey, what do we need that for? You know, that's for Arabs over there, not for us. See, they don't want to follow the rules of Islam. And a lot of them, if you have the resources to make Hajj, you need to do it. If you don't have the resources to make Hajj, well then you don't have to. You're exempt, all right? If you don't have the money to do it. Or maybe your health, maybe it's just absolutely, you couldn't be pushing a hospital bed, you know, in making Hajj. So this is something else. But you got to follow the rules, okay? That's the fourth. You got to follow the rules, and you got to be truthful, okay? You can't be a hypocrite. You can't follow Islam to, you know, because you're pressured into it. We just said, and you can't follow it in a hypocritical way and say, well, yeah, you know, I took the Shahada and I followed it, but you know what, I'm still one of you guys over here. I'm not, you know. And they did that. They did that back at the Prophet's time, peace be upon him. That was a common thing that was done by some of the Quraysh. They were kind of hypocritical, two-faced, you know. That we call that two-faced in the United States. You got one face here, one over here. Both got something different, you see. That's a hypocrite. That's a religious hypocrite. All right. You got to be sincere. All right. You can't be showing off and do it. Okay. Hey, I took the, you know, the Shahada and look at me. You know what I'm saying? Or I was a pastor for 30 years and now I took the Shahada and I'm a Muslim. That's showing off. All right. But you know what? I'll tell you what. I look on the internet. Those kind of messages right there are getting views. All right, a lot of people, oh, I'm so interested. Look at that guy over there. He's a Baptist and he took the Shahada. Look at that guy over there. He's Catholic and he took the Shahada. I say, big deal. All right? I don't know what's in that guy's heart. All right? Big deal. It's great that he took the Shahada. It's absolutely marvelous. But is he going to stay to it? How long is he going to be a Muslim? You know, taking it and not knowing what Islam is. How long will he endure and participate in everything that's Islam? That's the question. The dropout rate, my friends, is absolutely phenomenal. It's enormous on the people that take the Shahada and drop out and don't practice and go and do something else, or they become atheists or agnostics or back to Catholicism or back to somewhere. It's phenomenal. They don't report that. You know, there's no reporting in Islam. You couldn't say that so-and-so so and so is on the roll of Islam. Where are you going to find such a list? It doesn't exist. There's a guesstimation of how many people are Islamic in the United States, but there's no written ballot on how you're going to check on that. You're going to call each mosque, and there may be some in your area that are, Muslim, but you don't even know about it. So how are you going to find out an exact number? These numbers are estimations. I say it's probably higher than what they're reporting, but the dropout rate is absolutely enormous. The puffy little girl, she wants to marry, the guy from Pakistan or wherever he's from. And that's fine, that's good. But she's doing it just to marry this guy. She's not doing that to really come over into the religion. All right? She's not doing that to be, because she knows a lot about Islam, and well, that's the religion I want to practice, and I want to do, and I want to get into heaven. I want to follow the Prophet. I want to study his biography. I want to learn all that I can learn. Nah, she's just sitting there and la ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah. Yeah, no, I'm Muslim. Okay, let's get married. Think about that. That's what's going on. Absolutely. So, you got to love Islam. Okay. You got to love the brothers and the sisters, all right? You got to help them. You ever think about that? Actually, if you're watching this channel, you got to help this channel. All right? If you believe that I'm teaching what I should be teaching, and if I'm not, well, then you correct me. All right? And if you think you can do better, by all means, you get a channel. It's so easy to put one up. You share your knowledge then, okay? You get involved. All right? But you have an obligation to one another. All right? You got to love one another. You go off the track. I can go off the track a lot of times, and I probably do. And in the beginning, I was more off the track. It was like a derailed train more than I was on the track. But, I had to learn. And somebody had to teach me. All right? So, do your part. All right? If somebody's building a mosque, if you can, now a lot of people can't, and this is a bad time to be building anything because of the economy. But if you got extra money and you can, and it's not taken away from your kids or your family, your wife's support, and you have that left over, you need to give it, okay? You need to support everything you can that's of Islam. That's legitimate. All right? You need to support the brothers. You can always do something, right? Keep this in mind. You have an obligation when you become a Muslim. You just didn't become a Muslim to run to the United States to fill up your bank account. Did you? I hope not. I hope you made Hijrah here because of some other reasons than that. But when I look around, and most of my viewers, I can tell you what, I can look at the stats, and most of my viewers aren't from the United States anyway. They're from Indonesia and Pakistan. All right? Most. 80% probably. What does that say about Muslims in this country? You're running, my friend. My brother, you're running from Islam. That's why you're here, most of you. Because you don't want to practice, and you want to blend in with the herd here. So I'm going to admonish you to take and do your duty as a Muslim. All right? You might not like to hear that. I maybe shouldn't have said that, but you're not supporting me anyway. You know what I'm saying? So you think about that, what I'm telling you. Did you come here to the United States to fill up your bank account, to live a better life? I hear it all the time. Well, I'm here to live a better life. That's a poor reason, I'll tell you what. The Prophet, peace be upon him, stayed in Mecca probably way longer than any one of you guys would ever, Didn't want to leave, but for fear of his life being taken from him, for fear that they were going to slaughter every Muslim, he left. Did you leave for those reasons? That's the question I want to ask you. Stay where you are. That's what we always said in Christianity, you know. Somebody wanted to go to the mission field, you know, and we'd always say, stay where you are. There's a mission field right outside your door, you know. Do what you can where you're at. So that's my opinion. Now, you can find that in some of the hadith. I'll tell you what, when the Prophet was making hijrah, when he was going to Medina, he didn't go to Medina just because he wanted to check it out over there and see what it was like. He went there for fear of their lives because they would have been martyred in Mecca. Okay? So you got to love Islam, and you got to love the things of Islam. You got to love the brothers and sisters in Islam. All right? You have to support these individuals. I don't think a lot of people, when they took the Shahada, they really realized that you have an obligation. It's an obligation for the mosque and the imam to bury properly a person that's a Muslim. That's his right. Okay? That's his right as a Muslim. So let's step up. Let's step up, friends. Brothers and sisters, let's step up. You're a Muslim. Act like a Muslim. Okay? Do the things of a Muslim. Don't get caught up in this economy here, this United States. I tell you what, this thing is going down, and it's going down fast. And if you got money in the bank, you're a fool. Because number one, they're charging you to keep it in the bank. Number two, they can delete it with a keystroke. So if you think you got something, you got nothing. Nothing at all. What you do have is you have the Prophet. You have Allah. All right? You have Islam. Can't delete that. All right? Can't delete what you got up here. Can't delete it. Now, you might lose your mind. You might forget it. I do all the time. I'll study something and I got to go back and study it again because I'm not the youngest guy anymore. But it can't be deleted what you know. All right? Your bank account can. The stock market can crash, and it's done it before. The little people lose money. If you're a doctor, it doesn't matter. You're just a little speck, you know, in the snow. If you're a doctor, it doesn't mean anything. They can take your money just like that. You got 500,000, a million, you got $1.5 million, 2 million, 3 million, doesn't matter. Boop! I froze it. You can't use a dime. How you like that? This is the kind of country we're living in right here. Got problems right now buying a bag of rice. Can't find stuff on the market, on the shelf. Come on, America. Come on, get them out. All this wealth. You know, I heard Muslims one time talking. I heard the brothers talking one time, and this was during Ramadan. You know, everybody gathers outside, and a lot of them are smoking. And I'll walk over there. I don't smoke, but I want to go over there and listen. One guy was saying, you know, he had a little tiny store somewhere. And, oh, you know, anyone can make it here. Yeah, let's see what he's going to be saying in a few years here when he can't get stuff to put on the shelf in that store. Let's see if he's going to make it here. There's a change in this country, my friends. There's a change in the world right now. And the only thing that matters is your knowledge and your practice of Islam. All right? That's all that's going to matter. This stuff is transitory, and you're transitory. How many years are you going to live? 70 years, 80 years, maybe 80 years. Maybe not, because, you know, the actuaries in this country that insurances keep, you know, average 72 to 76 for a male, and he's gone. That's if you don't go ahead of time. I've got so many friends that, you know, I've lost in their 50s and late 50s. Okay. So you give what I'm telling you some thought. All right. Don't forget, we're going to have some new videos coming up. I think you're going to like some of the stuff that I'm going to come out with. But to clarify one thing, yes, all the prophets throughout history to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, had one message, and that message was Islam. I know a lot of people aren't going to like hearing that. If you're a Christian, you're listening to that, you go, phooey, go look and watch my tape, my last video, because that's what you believe. I know it's exactly what you believe. So, you think about these things. Well, brothers, I would say if you like these videos to take and put the thumbs up. Make a comment. See, it all helps. Anything you do helps. Tell a friend. Tell a neighbor. Post it on your Facebook, the video. Do something to support this old man. Alright? If you believe that I'm teaching, and I'm teaching to the best of my ability, alright, to the best of my knowledge, but I'm out there and I'm doing it. If you can do better, you start yourself a YouTube channel. Alright? If you can do better, don't be afraid. Start your own channel. Start teaching. Alright? Because we need it. With probably less than 10%, of the United States Muslims watching my videos. Less than 10%. I think the majority, is split between, like I said, it's split between India and various parts of India, mostly Pakistan it looks like, and Indonesia. You're the ones that are watching these videos. May Allah bless you, brothers. Do what you can where you live. Alright? Do what you can with your brothers and sisters and the people that you live around. That's my message for you. That's my encouragement to you. Practice your Islam where you are. Well, assalamu alaikum, brothers. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up, make a comment, and if you're not a subscriber, subscribe. I noticed that if I don't produce a video, there's no new subscribers. I don't understand that. I mean, these videos are out there. Everybody just quits watching. If you don't get a new one, quit watching. Phooey, I'm not gonna subscribe. There's enough Muslims. I ought to have 1 million views. I was watching not long ago. I was watching about RVs because I'm thinking about buying one. And there's 2 lesbians. 2 women living together, okay? Lesbians in an RV. I post a video and get 17,000 views. Bilal Phillips, with his teaching on anything, barely gets 17,000 views in no time, in a month maybe. Imagine that. 2 lesbians outdo you guys. Imagine that. That's nothing to be proud of, let me tell you. And you're going to give account for that. On the day of judgment, you are going to give account for that. Now, that's a warning. Take it any way you want. I'm going to be judged for what I say and do, and so are you. Alright. Video is going to be complete for today. I'm going to come up with some more for you very shortly. And I hope you stay tuned. And I hope you listen to what I say. Maybe go back and listen again and again and again until you get it right, okay? And Assalamu alaikum. May Allah bless you. May He protect you and may He keep you well and safe. Salams.